So, before I get into this, let me actually have, like, a notepad out or something. Is there any way I can put, like, a big thing over this that says, like, this is my... So this is going to be my tier list for tournament melee play. Okay? Everyone in S tier is going to be characters that I think are completely solo viable, have no issues, and if your character is in S tier, you basically should not complain, like, ever. Obviously, you can dislike a matchup. Like, I complain about Falcon, but I don't think Fox Falcon is bad. I think Fox beats Falcon. I just don't like the matchup. Obviously, Fox Marth is a pain in the ass to me because of FD, but you still can win the matchup. It's like, no other stage is worse at worst case scenario than 55-45 Marth, in my opinion. And I think I can argue 3 or 4 stages that Fox wins on. It's just FD does suck. So, get that out of the way. If your character's in S tier, you should not complain, period. You just should not. So, having said that, and I'm going to go over my reasons for why a character is where they are, I think that the best character for tournament play, okay, is 100% Jigglypuff. The reason I think that Puff is the best for tournament play, and this is not in theory, I think their tournament play today, 2019, okay? Keep that in mind when I'm saying that. In 2019, I think Jigglypuff is the best character you can play in tournament. My reason being, I think that the ease of matchup, like every matchup is kind of a flowchart. There's a pretty clear way to play most matchups. You don't require warm-up time. You don't need that much time to switch between matchups. You can quite literally, just stop the match mid-game and just reset your head, which basically no one else can do without risk. And I think that she has a really good match spread in today's meta. She probably loses to Fox 45-55, even in bracket. I know other people disagree, but that's fine. But that's her only losing matchup. And she doesn't have, in my opinion, any other really hard matchups. Like, no other matchups I can see her, like, just outright losing right now in the current meta. Marth is probably pretty close to even. I think she beats Falco right now. I think she obviously doesn't have to worry about Peach. You only have to worry about one Falcon. I think she beats Marth. No, I think she loses to Marth in theory. In practice right now, no. I don't think it's progressed there yet. She basically only has to worry about Wizzy, because none of the other Falcons know how to fight against Puff. And I do take into account how good people are at the matchup, and I think that most people are pretty garbage in that. People are getting better, for sure. And I know HBox was upset by a few spaces this year, but everyone got upset. Like, everyone got upset this year, basically. Left and DQ, tournaments he played the worst at. Axe lost to, 5 different players, most of them ice climbers, but still. Mango lost to 4 or 5 people outside the top 20. Everyone got upset this year. I think that Jigglypuff right now, probably the easiest character to play in tournament consistently at a high level. You don't really have any stoppers. You have no... and his quote-unquote bad loss to Albert, I'm sorry. He lost to a Falco on a monitor with no sound that was laggy. In a crowd without audio. So it's just how much... Great for Albert. When a battle season comes, I'm 100% going to reward him for that. How much do I care about that? And I also think that I do take into account the availability of practice, and there just aren't many good Puffs. Toussaint was not that active this year. We didn't see a Boo. Michael is not as active and not as good. There's no other Puff that can prepare you for HBox. And so I think that all these factors combined, hard to practice against. One of the few characters I think you actually have to practice against to know the matchup. I don't think you can just study Puff. I think you really have to know how to play against Puff. Pretty lenient matchup spread, etc., etc. I don't see a world where right now I'd say Puff is not the easiest character. It's not sorry. Don't let me say easy. Where Puff is not the best character in tournament right now. In bracket, okay? So number 2, I go back and forth between this. This one is kind of hard for me. Damn at Hungrybox. No, I mean, I think Hungrybox is obviously really good. But that's that. So number 2 is rough. I tend to go with this character. So I think 2 and 3, for the record, literally right next to each other. Okay? Right next to each other. I do think number 2 in tournament play right now is Marth. Most of my reason being is Marth doesn't have to worry about a lot of... So, in my opinion, and I know I'm a Fox main, I know that a lot of people say, oh, you're just a whiny Fox main. Whatever. I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared to defend myself. I think Marth has way, way, way fewer matchups where you have to kind of worry about everyone at every skill level. I think a lot of people get stopped by Marth, especially at the mid and low high level, and every single one of those players can combo the fuck out of a Fox. I'm sorry, like, they just can. I've experienced it, I've seen it, I watch a lot of VODs, and I always see the close sets happen with Fox. It's never with Zane. And granted, I think Zane's amazing. I think Zane is really, really, really good. But if you look at all the top Marths that have ever existed, they've all been hyper consistent. And I think there's a really good reason for that. I think he's a really hard character to upset. He has a devastating punish game, and he really, really can prey off of nerves. His execution is hard, but it's just not like... It's not as fast. There's not as many ways to mess up, and there's a lot less risk when it comes to using Marth, in my opinion, than it is to using Fox. Yes, Marth has to worry about Pikachu. How many Pikachus are there? Like, really? How many Pikachus are there? Outside of saying what Marth's good at all the matchups, PPU was great against everyone besides Puff. PPU is only bad against Puff. Marth beats Pika, I think. Probably in theory. In practice, it's hard to say. PP was amazing in every matchup, basically, except for Pikachu and Puff. In fact, there was a year where it's like he didn't have any losses outside the top 50, like, whatsoever. Which for someone in the 11 to 20 range is actually crazy. And even Yoshi, it's like, Zane just bodied Amsa this year. I think Marth, in theory, Fox has a better matchup spread. Marth has more leniency. And I think that plays up in tournament in 2019. I can see this switching within a year or two. In fact, I expect Fox to be better within a year or two because I think eventually Foxes are going to be good enough to the point where it won't be an issue. So number 3 for tournament play. This is all for tournament play. I do think is Fox. Even with a high execution barrier, I guess, even with all the nerves, the character's fucking good. The character is really, really good. In my opinion, the best character at Melee, but not the best for tournament use. I think that almost undoubtedly Fox is probably the best character in theory. But when it comes to tournament play, like I said, I take into account the landscape of tournaments, and this is play at the top level. Everyone is Fox practice. Everyone knows how to combo against Fox. Everyone knows how to play against Fox. Everyone's good against Fox. Every single Fox player has gotten upset by someone except for Fiction, basically. And by multiple people. And there's so many Foxes. The fact that every single one of us has been like, I lost to Yort, Lucky lost to Dark Atma, Lucky lost to Mr. F, Lucky lost to got like so many people this year. Zach lost to Kevin Maples. We all just have like bad losses. So it's really hard, and I do think against the top, right now it is like Zane is kind of a barrier for almost all of us, except for Leffen, and Leff is just really, really good because right now we have to do a better job at FD. Like, I don't think Marth Fox is 80-20 in theory in FD. I think that we can definitely do a collective better job and make it a lot harder. I think we should at least be able to bring it down to like 60-40, like percent, like actual percentage-wise, 60-40, 70-30, instead of Zane winning every game against us. Like, that's pathetic. That shouldn't happen. In no universe should that ever happen in a matchup. So I think that we need to do a better job on that. No, Blur, this is tournament play. This is strictly for tournament play and not in theory, Blur. No, this is strictly for play in tournament and not in theory. I am going to be making 2 tier lists, Blur. So I think that we need to do a better job on FD for sure. It's not guaranteed, but we need to do a better job. And a lot of this is on us. Like, this character should be higher, in my opinion. We should be better, but we're not right now. And that's on us. But having said that, our matchup spread's still amazing. Outside of Marth, I can't see us losing a matchup. I really can't. Maybe like Slight to Falco. Maybe Slight to Falco. Yeah, the meta as it is now. And you can go back and watch my explanation. The meta as it is now, Blur. Just like the current meta. So, yeah. So you're saying these characters... All the characters in S tier you can't complain about your character, basically. If your character's an S tier, your character's good, your character can win a super major, your character has no blocks. There's nothing that can really prevent them from winning a tournament, and you just shouldn't complain, period. So that's my stance on Fox. I think he should be better, and that's on us. The next character is Falco. I also do think Falco is an S tier. I think Mango has proved to me that Falco is an S tier. I mean, the character's fucking good. Like, the character's really fucking good. He has really good matchups right across the board. I can't see... you can't believe you know more about a game. Shut up, Gooms. I can't see him losing a matchup other than maybe... I could see him slightly losing to Marth. I could see him slightly losing to Puff. I think he does way better versus Puff than he's shown, but I am ranking on the meta, which is why he's this low. But I think Falco is fucking good. And when I say S tier, this tier just means no question, solo viable, don't complain if you main them. Like, just straight up, don't complain if you main this quick. Don't complain if you main this character. It's okay to dislike a matchup, but you cannot complain that your character sucks. You cannot complain that your character sucks. Also, Gooms, why do you think that I'm wrong in the current meta? Instead of saying that, why do you think I'm wrong in the current meta? What do you think? I think you can play him any way you want, Raja. I don't think it matters. I'll be honest. I think way to play characters is overrated, especially with spacies. I think you can play them mostly whatever way you want. Okay. Hard time consistently solo maining. You might need to dual main. So the next tier is going to be a tier where I say these characters have a hard time consistently solo winning. You might need to dual main them. That means that they have 1 or 2 matchups, 1 or 2 players where they're so good against your character that this is Luigi clearly beats Fox. That it's going to be you might need to pick up a secondary, or you. It's going to be rough. So this is actually kind of hard for me. I haven't thought about this too much. Obviously, for me, the first 2 characters are Falcon and Sheik. Most people think Sheik's 100% better than Falcon. I don't disagree with them. It's hard because we didn't see a lot of Sheik this year. And so in the meta, I might be tempted to say Falcon, but I'm not going to say Falcon because I think the only reason Sheik did badly is because Plup was playing Ultimate for half the year, and we saw a lot of Sheiks like vastly improve. So I'm putting Sheik here. Sheik needs a dual main exclusively because of this character, in my opinion. I don't see any Sheik consistently taking sets off of Hungry Bucks right now. I don't see it. Can they take a set? Sure. Can they take 2 sets? Probably. Do I see them winning, having a record where they're favored against HBox? No. I do not. I genuinely do not see that right now. I think Sheik beats Ices, actually, Draxed. I think Sheik objectively beats Ices. Very difficult to say. I think in theory Sheik could win against Puff in tournament. Almost certainly not. And I think in tournament play, oh no, even in tournament play, I think Sheik beats Ices. Is top row in order or not? The top row is in order, but this tier list is for tournament play only. This is not for theory. And we're doing a theory tier list after. Plup took a set at CEO 2018 off of Hungry Box with Sheik. It was the Zelda Dash Attack set. But outside of that, yeah, I haven't seen it. Why do you think Sheik beats Ices? How the hell does Ices get an opening on Sheik? How? I think Sheik has a better matchup spread than Falcon. I think Sheik does way better with Falco. She does worse versus Fox, which I do admit, but I think she does better versus Marth. Beats Falcon solidly in the head-to-head. They both destroy Peach, in my opinion. Or not like destroyed her, but they beat like solidly Peach. She doesn't really have to worry about any weird characters, and I think that Falcon is pretty fucked by the existence of Falco, and there's a lot more Falcos than there are Jigglypuffs. So you can't complain. No, you cannot. You play Falco. So I think that Puff is the inhibitor for Sheik. Falco is the inhibitor for Falcon. Because there are fewer Puffs than Falcos, that's basically why I'm going to put Sheik above Falcon, and then Sheik also wins the head-to-head. Are we looking at it? It doesn't matter. Soapball is a chain grab. I don't think wobbling actually affects that matchup too much. I might be ignorant, but I don't think it does. The next character I'd put is Falcon. Obviously, Wizzy's won a Super Major. I'm not saying it's impossible to win a Super Major. That's like clearly not what I'm saying. But at the same time, he didn't run into Mango. He didn't run into any Falcos, basically. Wizzy this year has had multiple close calls of Falco. Almost lost to Magi at Big House. Had to reverse 3-0 her. Obviously didn't have to play Mango. Had a really close set with Ginger at Summit in pools. The rest of the Falcons, obviously we've seen. None is weirdly good against Falco, but I think when you play the way he does, even if you duel over Falco, you're going to sacrifice other things. Nunn's matchup spread, he basically plays Sheik. Like, if you think about it. Can't beat Puff. Pretty good versus all the Foxes. Weirdly good versus Falco. Good versus Marth. Does oddly well versus Sheik, except for a Dream Hack. That was bad. Like, matchup-wise, Nunn's a little weird. And then, like, does badly versus Ices. So it's like, he's an anomaly. But having said that, I do think that most Falcons, if you want to win, if you ever want to go on a streak like Armada went on, or like HBox went on in 2018, 2017 was the year he was dominant, the end of 2017, or like Armada at the beginning, 2016, 2017, I think you need to dual main. I don't think you can do it solo with either of these characters. After that comes Peach, and for me, Peach is kind of a gatekeeper character. So, in my opinion, Peach loses to every single person up here. The best match being Falco. The only matchup I think is super unwinnable is Puff. But I think she loses pretty badly to Marth, pretty badly to Sheik, loses decently to Falcon, loses slight to Falco. Maybe she beats Falco, but probably not. But I don't think there's a character below Peach that she doesn't like beat pretty clearly. I've heard that Samus is kind of close, even though I don't actually know. But can I rename this? No, I can't. I don't know that the matchup is, but I still think Peach definitely wins, and she definitely beats all the other characters super hard. So she's pretty gatekeeper-ish. Samus is not bad provided you can hit charge shots. Oh, that's why Hugo gets washed. No offense, Hugo. Actually, full offense if you're in chat. You stole my fucking Echo Dot, little motherfucker. Bad. This is for tournament play, not for theory. So yeah, so I think Peach, gatekeeper, great against everyone down here, bad against everyone up here. Cannot win a major with the existence of Hungry Box. Straight up. Could sneak a major with everyone else here. Could definitely sneak a major with everyone else here, but cannot win. Like, you need a character for Puff. You're not winning that. The B tier is its own tier. Axe is a god. I don't think Pikachu is as good as Axe makes him look. I genuinely don't know how Axe makes his character look better than he looks. I would put him in the tier below if it weren't for Axe. But having said that, Axe cannot beat Ice Climbers. He literally needs to switch off for Ice Climbers. Hasn't taken a set off of Hungry Box in 5 years, 6 years. I don't see him ever consistently beating H-Box. There's no way in the world that I think this character is better than any of the characters above. I know your opinions blur, and I completely disagree with you. I'll be completely honest. Washed might beat in theory. Probably not in practice, sure. Loses badly. I don't know my thoughts, loses badly. he has a lot of inhibited matchups, and even like Axe. No, he didn't beat HBox this year. Like, let me show you Axe's line this year so you can understand why I don't think it's actually that good. Like, the character. So you get to Axe, and he has great top tier spread, but he's 0-3 versus HBox, down on Mango, whatever. 0-1 on Swedish, and 1-1 on Face Roll. So clearly something's up with little Sheik. He did beat Plup at Genesis, which is amazing, but still, 2 Sheiks is a little disconcerting. Bad loss to Ices, bad loss to Ices, bad loss to Ices, and then lost to Pudgy Panda. And the army win was with Falco. The characters are in order for tournament play. How good I think they are in tournament in 2019. So to beat loses badly. Like this matchup's not doable. Loses pretty badly. And in a world where you have Spark, Facial, and Swedish, who are all really good against the mid-tiers, that's a big deal, because you're going to run into them, and you're probably going to lose more than a few times to someone who's like considerably worse than you. Sure, you got Marth, great. Loses, I know people think he beats him. I know that he's up on Leffen. At the same time, I still don't think he beats Fox. I'll be honest. I think you just have to play extremely lame. Loses, I'm almost positive. And then, in meta, I guess beats Slight. Facial beat Axe. Yeah, Facial beat Axe this year. So C tier. Mid, high tiers. Definitely needs secondaries. Won't win super majors. So, once you get to down here, Ices are... It's still basically Peach level? No, because Peach doesn't struggle with anyone down here. And the only thing Peach really has to worry about is Puff. Peach can beat every other character reliably, except Puff. Pikachu cannot beat Sheik reliably, in my opinion. I don't believe she can beat Sheik reliably. I think the propensity for Pikachu... This is an important thing. I think the propensity for Pikachu to get upset is exponentially higher than Peach. Exponentially higher. And Pikachu will also lose to any ice climber he runs into. And there's a lot of ice climbers. Why do I think Pika Sheik is that bad? Because in history, Plup has washed Axe when he's in melee practice. He loses to Swedish almost every time. He lost to Face Roll. Like, and the other win here was at SmashCon. Ice have way worse matchups. So, Draxed. Ices have worst matchups. Ices are really, 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 really good under pressure. Ices are extremely, extremely good under pressure. Steven, this is my view in tournament play. Assuming wobbling is legal. This is my view on best characters in tournament in 2019. I'm going to do a list on theory afterwards, like who I think is the best in theory. I think Ices lose hard to go. Sure, they lose, but Samus, who does Samus lose to? Samus loses to Peach. Samus cannot beat Falcon to save her life. Samus loses to Sheik. Samus loses to Falco badly. Samus loses to Fox. Samus loses to Marth. Samus loses to Puff. Samus loses to, like, Ganon also. Right? Samus is only good against Fox. And I will say something. Most Foxes are really bad versus Ice Climbers. And that does matter. Like, most people are really bad at the matchup. Sure, but Drax, how many Ganons, Yoshis, and Peaches do you really have to worry about? Samus loses to Ganon. Blur, I like to mess with Hugo, okay? Samus doesn't actually lose to Ganon, but it's like it's one of those like pretty weird matchups. Regardless, Samus does lose badly to Falcon. Samus loses anywhere from slight to badly versus Peach. I don't actually know the matchup that hard. Loses to Sheik, loses badly to Falco. Loses to Fox, even though Foxes are bad at the matchup, so it doesn't really matter that much. Loses to Marth, and loses to Puff. Did you ever get to play a round tournament? I did not. He could lose to every Peach. So someone in chat said, unironically, that Peach is actually not bad for Samus if you can hit charge shots, and they unironically said Hugo sucks because it literally just misses charge shot. I actually don't see Samus as well. Actually, because Samus as a character doesn't really get upset that much. Samus is a pretty consistent character. You don't see Samus making a ton of crazy upsets either. Like, Morse Code definitely beat Moki twice, but that's like the only thing I saw this year that was crazy by Samus. Like a crazy upset. Everything else has been pretty consistent. And I still think that Ices, like in my head, Ices have a way better chance against like some of the top 10 than Samus does. Samus basically only has a chance against me, if I'm being completely honest. No other Samus has a chance against the top 10 really. And Ices has a chance versus SGJ, definitely has a chance versus Axe, definitely has a chance versus Mango, right? Definitely has a chance versus Plup. So, in my opinion, in tournament play, I think that Ices definitely are right now better than Samus. But in theory, I think they're way worse. I do think Samus is... you know what? Tough. Let me think about this, actually. Do I think... I'm rethinking this. I haven't really thought of where I think Yoshi is. If I'm being completely honest, I have not thought of where I put Yoshi. And I'm looking at this tier list. Yoshi definitely does better versus, like, everyone up here. Yoshi does better versus everyone up here than Ices, like, without a doubt. They both get kind of washed by Fox. Yoshi does way better versus Puff. You know what? I think you're right. I think that Yoshi should be in this tier. Under X, but I think that Yoshi is like probably in this tier where it's like I'm raging. Blur. Axe cannot beat an Ice Climbers. Blur. What Ice Climber has Axe beaten with Pikachu? What Puff has Axe... Axe has almost lost to so many Puffs that it like boggles my mind he hasn't bought an upset more. Ices are down here for sure. I think Samus is being faced. So I think I'll explain Yoshi first. So Yoshi, in my opinion, so according juxtaposed with Pikachu, Yoshi does way better versus Puff. Worse versus Marth. Worse versus Fox. Probably a little better versus Falco. I think Pikachu definitely out Falco wins. And I've heard every single Yoshi. I don't actually know. I like Turtles. This is for tournament play. I think that Yoshi probably does better versus Falco. I've heard every Yoshi say they think Yoshi Falco's pretty good. I can't claim to know the matchup, but I've heard every Falco say Yoshi is hard, and I've heard every Yoshi say Falco is like a good matchup. Both pretty bad versus Sheik. And then I would say Pikachu has a slight edge versus... Pikachu has an edge versus Falcon for sure, like a pretty clear edge, and Yoshi has like a slight edge versus Peach. But yeah, the reason I'm putting Ices over Samus, because I think in theory Samus is probably better. I have Ices over Samus just because every single Samus gave up this year, and we literally have no data to go off of it. It's hard for me to put... Peach destroys Yoshi, so I've actually heard that that's not the case. Blur, I'm sorry. If you think Pikachu does better versus Puff, I'm literally banning you from my chat. And that's actually a big deal when the number one player in the world is Puff. So I've actually heard from a lot of people that Peach Yoshi is not as bad as a lot of people claim to think they are. The reason I'm making this tier is because, in my opinion, both these characters should be down here. The number one player in the world is a Falco who goes Fox for Jigglypuff. King of the Bronx, thanks so much to Twitch Prime. Both these characters here, because I think both of them should undoubtedly need secondaries to perform at the level they do. But somehow these two characters are just extremely good. Or these two players just make this character look extremely good. I don't really know how, but they do. So Ice is about Samus. I'm said that Peach beats Yoshi 60-40. Okay. And that's a doable matchup still. Like, 60-40 is a doable matchup. Even still, both those characters are for sure better than these characters. Like, Ices get washed by Puff, washed by Marth, washed by Fox, washed by Falco, washed by Peach, washed by Falcon, in theory. But they have the upset factor, which is why I put them this high for tournament play. They get destroyed by Yoshi, I'm pretty sure. They get beaten badly by Samus. And I think they lose pretty badly to Sheik, too. I know people disagree. I think they lose pretty badly to Sheik. Yoshi has too many good matchups to be lower than that. Pikachu has too many matchups to be that low. And I think that both of them are not as good as these characters. Like, Peach, really hard to upset. So even though Peach is, like, even though Peach struggles in these matchups, outside of Puff, none of them are actually inhibitive. And for the most part, you can't say Sheik beats Ice. That's not true. Swedish and Chu had pretty similar years, actually. And Swedish was actually doing better with Sheik than he did with Peach by a landslide. How many of the Sheiks consistently beat Ices? Go look at the relative skills before you give me the stats. Don't compare, like, top 50 Sheik to Chudat or Bananas. No, the Sheiks beat you because they switch off. They all switch off. No, Hold up. Okay. So Face Roll did not play Chew this year. Face Roll is 1-0 on Bananas, who was really good when he was still playing. Army, these are local sets, so I don't really care about them. Yeah, every single one of those is local. Hasn't played Chew. Okay. Swedish went Peach at a pound. And then Shine, there was like a weird double blind thing where he lost like the double blind with like his secondary. And then when Sheik actually did like pretty well. But I don't remember that set too well. And then I'm pretty sure he goes Sheik for all the other Ices and does fine. And then what other Sheiks do we have to go off of? Spark? Spark on here? Spark's down here, right? Didn't play Chew. 1-1 with Army, and Army was for sure better than Spark earlier this year. Like, there's no doubt about that. And then hasn't played another Ices. And then Plup doesn't go Sheik for Ices. Plup goes Samus or Fox. Fox nowadays. Used to go Samus. Just give me examples of Sheik better ever winning. They don't play. Like, I just showed you the sheet. Air Flex tournament played because the only things we have to go of are Face Roll and Bananas, where Face Roll is up, and then basically nothing else besides Spark and Army. We have this set, but there were so many counterpick wars. Like, this wasn't a Sheik Ices set. So let's say it's evenish. Okay, fine. Let's say Sheik Ices is evenish. So Sheik, instead of all of those, just gets washed by these 6 characters and does even versus Sheik. Still nowhere near as good versus Pikachu or Yoshi. Let's say Sheik loses to Ice Climbers. So Ice Climbers beat Sheik. Okay, sweet. Sheik Ices beat Sheik. Washed. Literally like washed by all these characters. This can't possibly be a tournament meta fix. I mean, you can't. It's like you can't do just straight like. There has to be some mix blur because in some cases you just don't have data to like go off of. The only Falco we have to go off of is Mango and Ginger, and they're obviously like completely different players. Like I'm pretty sure Ginger's up on Chew, right? Ginger's up on Chew, and Mango's down on Army. So what the hell do I make of that? You try telling? Okay, fine. I'll give up. Regardless, in no universe are these two characters in this tier. They're just not. No universe of these characters is as good as these two characters. The existence of Axe and Ops have proved that. No ICs have been able to come close to taking these characters to the level that Axe is up on right now. And the last time an ICs came close to Oms' level was 2016 summer, right? 2016 summer, 2017 summer. And when was Chew top 10? 2017 summer, right? And to give you Chew at Zenith 2012. That doesn't matter anymore. Doug is taking one set off Apex Cannon Cup, but Doug doesn't play Samus anymore. We don't have Samus data to go with. And Oms has never lost to an ICs, yeah, as far as I know. So in no universe to me are ICs as good as this. ICs are the characters that can beat any one player of these characters because of just how they work, but they will never consistently beat any of these characters. Oms lost to Disc Kid Boogie, okay, so like in 2016. So I don't see ITs ever being as good as these two characters. Not right now. After that would be Samus. I already explained my view on Samus. I'm going to rate Luigi here. You know what? Do I even care about Luigi? Okay. I'll put Luigi here. I'm not really going to go into why I think he's there. But decent character. Has potential. Like, does well versus ICs. It's like okay elsewhere, but realistically, I don't really care. This is just gonna be pick another character tier. I don't think it matters what you get to here. If you play any of these characters and you want to win a super major, just give up. If you basically pick any character from here with aspirations of like even dual mating to win a super major, you're not playing the right game. In 2019, Wally, I do too, and that's why I'll make an actual tier list in theory. Well, Blur, I'll do that when I do theory instead of doing this is like a 2019 tier list. This is a 2019 tier list. Remember that. So now I'm going to make a new one.